Reddit. What single act of seduction got you thinking, wow, that actually worked? I had been on a date with this girl like once or twice and then we go swimming. Afterwards we went back to my apartment. Well, my dad's. I was still in high school and I wanted to get rid of the smell of chlorine on me. So I told her I'm going to shower. Feel free to join me in that half joking tone, thinking it would never work. 2 minutes into it she hops in there with me, and that's the story of how I lost my virginity. I came home to see my weed dealer roommate smoking pot with a very hot woman. She was an escort buying weed from him. I opened a bottle of wine and after a bit she told me all the things she would do to me if I paid her. I told her that she could get all the sex she wanted for free. She stayed with me that night, and she became my GF for about 4 months. Had to end it because she was batshit crazy. But it was fun. It's worth mentioning that I was a broke ass wheelchair bound 30-year-old. TLDR. Offered a hot escort 6 for free. She said okay. Some guy I knew seduced a girl by telling her that he was so bad in bed that she has to try it. She agreed and finished him off by telling him that it actually was bad. XD. I knew him because he contemplated Sudoku. Went up to a girl to ask her if she might be interested in my friend. She glanced over at him and said, I prefer you. It felt like poaching, but all's fair. The week before I had gone on my first date with a great girl, and come Saturday night we had both been working on a project together with a bunch of other people. It was super cold so I gave her a ride back to her dorm but she'd forgotten her keys and it was late. She was worrying about where she'd sleep that night, and I said I've got to bed. So she agreed and we spent that night in my twin bed, cuddling and talking and dry humping until about 3:30 in the morning. 9 months later we couldn't be happier together. No, she's not pregnant. Close bracket. Honestly, I'm surprised every time I go to kiss a girl I just met and she actually goes along with it. So, every act of seduction. A buddy of mine had been drinking with a good friend, now GF. They were sitting on the couch and he told her, "You smell like girl." To this day, even she doesn't understand how that worked. The good ol', after every text. Her, "Are you gay?" Me, "No." Her, "Prove it." She turned out crazy though. On the way home from a drunken first date, she starts observing and asking about the scars on my hands. Machinist. She asks if they hurt as she kisses one better. I reply with yes and point to another. Kiss. Another. Higher. Kiss. I point to my lips and it's on. In sober retrospect it's totally cheesy and embarrassing. But DM. HS. Casually asking, wanna have a six? Who knew just asking would work? We're friends. Had never engaged in any sexual activity with each other. And were both sober. I shouldn't have been surprised, because it was a tried and true JFK line. But I was anyway. I was at a loud party, trying to chat up a very pretty girl I had met once or twice before. I got frustrated but not being able to hear, and I just leaned real close to her and said, "Would you like to discuss this someplace quieter?" She just gave me this look and 20 seconds later we were in her room making out. She was hosting the party, and after that point I guess she didn't do a very good job hosting. It's bent to the left like Clinton. Wanna see? Oh, college. I was texting a girl one night who lived about an hour away. She said, "I wish I was tired. I just can't sleep tonight." I said, "You should come sleep with me instead." She said okay. An hour later she was at my door. We banged. I have no idea how that happened. One time some chick at a bar just grabbed my D because I wasn't paying attention to her. I was kinda confused but it definitely got my attention. A guy I know told a girl he failed his humping license and was wondering if he could test drive her. It worked. About 3 years ago I went to a house party with some friends. One girl was there who I thought was absolutely gorgeous. Puerto Rican. Nice skin, curly hair, and a great butt. I told my friend who lived there that I thought her friend was cute. I keep seeing gorgeous PR girl around the party. We make slight eye contact and she brushes past me a few times. However, I have yet to say anything to her. This goes on for about 2 hours. Fast forward and a few of us go outside to smoke drink. We are just chilling on the back porch. No lights on. and the girl is just standing next to me. I put my arm around her waist and pull her towards me little by little. Eventually, the group disbands and everyone goes back inside, except us. We just stand there for a little while and I kind of just keep caressing her body with my hands. This turns into making out, and next thing I know she starts zipping my pants down. And that is the story of how I got a blowjob without uttering a single word. I surprised myself that day. I walked up to that hot girl, said I've got weed, wanna blow down? She said I don't smoke weed, but I do like to blow. Sarcastically introducing myself as King Edward III to the girl sitting beside me. It was during one of those inane college class introductions where you pick a partner and introduce them to the class. She went on to regale the class with my many military victories and how I deposed Roger Mortimer for control of the English throne. Look a man in the eyes and just smile and walk away. Works like a boob. One time I was at a club, had a few drinks, and just started dancing with this girl for a few songs. The booze flowing through us. We made out on the dance floor a little bit, and eventually as the night was coming to a close, bars close at 3 AM. State law. I got brave and asked, so, do you have a place to stay for tonight? She thought about it for a second and then said no. Bochakal wow. The story of my first one night stand. The naked Minoyo. I know it works 2/3 times but it is still incredible. Communicating love through eye contact. I don't know, but if you make the right kind of eye contact it can do more for you than words can. My friend was talking to this girl who said she was an aspiring actress. He said let's do a scene. She agreed. So they pretended to be a couple at a diner having a fight and it ended in a furious makeout session. Probably the most masterful and committed pickup attempt I've ever seen. I was at a bar having a little birthday party for myself and my super crush shows up. I'm 3 sheets at this point and we start talking. Out of nowhere the honesty train comes barreling down the tracks and I say to her, I'm super drunk and I'm probably going to start throwing up in a few minutes. So if you want to make out, we gotta do it now, he says. Okay, we make out and much later than I thought I threw up, true to my word. Not on her though, just for clarification. On Tinder I open up with yo girl, you so fine I'd suck your dad's D just to get the recipe. I was thoroughly surprised when this worked and she responded. Basically saying that I wouldn't make out with them even if they tried all night. Jedi mind trick Mothadacus. Got a girl in my bed by telling her about my clock that projects the time on the ceiling. She got on my bed, looked up, and said, I don't see anything. Enter smooth Jonas. Oh yeah, I have to turn the lights off. Bada boom. A buddy pinned a girl down and farted in her face at a party. They got married a few years later. Approaching girls on the street, otherwise known as day game. Literally just going up to a girl, anywhere. Stopping them for a minute, like how you might stop someone for directions, and then just explaining that you wanted to meet them, and try to drum up a conversation. If you get along, getting a phone number and setting up a date. I've been on more dates in a year than most guys will have in their entire lifetime. It's difficult to work up the bravery at first and you have to persevere through the rejections and weird reactions. But it gets easier and eventually they don't faze you. If you're just straight up and honest and chill about things, you won't come across creepy. Most girls react neutrally no matter what you look like. Looks don't really play a part. The brave action of just having the balls to approach and then actually be genuine, interesting, and not creepy is enough to get most girls on a date. It also makes you much more confident with being in public and dealing with people in general. I meet a few new people every week as a result now. New dates about once every week or 2 weeks. My buddy and I play a game where we use terrible lines in noisy bars to make people unsure if they heard us correctly. He once brought home a heavy girl using the line, does it smell like whale pussy in here? I was flirting with some old married lady at the bar. She went to the bathroom and her friend said I shout follow her. I did, thinking it would be funny. She basically ripped my pants off and started blowing me. Not only was she married but we were in a filthy bathroom and a girl peeing next to us. I apparently am not very sexually competent because I only got to half-mast before I felt bad, gross and left. I ends up getting drunker and putting it in her ass later that night. I felt so gross. Very early in college, I brought a girl back to my dorm to watch a movie. I knew I wanted to make move, but I had no idea how to be smooth about it. So like a true rock star, I just put my arm around her as we sat on the futon. Eventually, she nervously mentioned that she wasn't looking for a boyfriend or anything. That followed with me being like, well, that's okay. I just was wondering if you'd want to fool around or something, while gesticulating like an idiot. She was totally down with it and I got a BJ. I have a friend who got a Canadian girl to sleep with him by claiming he was a Zeppelin pilot. Met 2 girls in a hostel in New Zealand and went out drinking together. Got a little tipsy and told them both I was terrible in bed. Even going as far as to tell them a few amusing stories for verification. To tears of laughter. They both went to bathroom and drew straws or something because only one came back and she grabbed me straight away and kissed me. A few shenanigans later and we were back in her room. An interesting night to say the least. Apparently, intently listening to a woman is like pure liquid sex. I've had completely unintentional hookups simply on the basis of finding something they had to say interesting. People I expressed zero sexual interest in have remembered me or asked about me weeks after a single conversation. I come to 2 conclusions based on this. 1. Evidently, no one listens to women. Or, at least not full-grown men. A stranger paying 100% attention to your words must be the female equivalent of an impromptu blowjob. It can make their whole ducking month. 2. Despite knowing this, it's really ducking hard to do. There's too much distraction in the modern world and most idle conversations are just too damn mind-numbing to commit your full attention. I guess for men, people pay just enough attention to them that this is no biggie. But for women, it's so rare it counts as a form of seduction. Bought 2 pairs of pants that actually fit me. I sat next to a girl under a blanket in a living room with some more people and somehow I had the audacity to just start fumbling her breasts. I hadn't met her before. She liked it and we ended up in bed. But to just start touching a woman's boobs out of nowhere is ballsy at best. I got a girl's number and the first time I called her to try to get her to come out for drinks she told me she had to pick up a friend at the airport early the next day. I said I live way closer to the airport than you. And I have an alarm clock. We were ducking like 2 hours later. Looking back, I still can't believe that worked. Told a girl I lasted an hour and 15 seconds the other day. Thanks to daylight savings time. She tested the theory. Drove her back after a night out with a bunch of mutual friends. She says she wants to get a shower before bed. I nod and say I'll watch. Not much sleeping got done after that. I should really be forward more often. Asked a hot Ukrainian girl Tydeash, Arpacham, do you sell yourself? How much? We've been married 5 years now. I once asked a girl I met that night if she wanted to go bang in the pipes behind the pool hall. Giant maze of construction pipes. It didn't work that night. But apparently I gave her my number and she ended up calling me a week later and we had a good time for a couple years. This question came after making out with one of the 2 girls she came with and then making fun of the other one until she had to be physically restrained from attacking me in the parking lot. In high school me and my friend went on a double date. He was dating a girl and she had a friend so he brought me along, so kind of a blind date at the movies. Once we got in we were all laughing and cutting up waiting for the movie to start and the girl I was with tries saying something to the other girl and got no reply. We look over and they are making out with each other. She then looks back at me and says, well damn, now what do we do? It felt almost like an invitation to kiss her, so I grab her face and plant one right on her mouth and say, how about this? We made out the whole movie and dated for a few months after that. I thought it was a good idea to compliment her bustiness by calling her tits McQueef. Still baffles me. One Halloween, years ago, when I was 17, I asked a gal I'd known for a few months what she was doing that night. She told me she was babysitting for some people and would be staying in. I jokingly said, why don't I come over and we'll make wild passionate love? She said, yeah. Met her at 8 PM. Was not disappointed. New girl starts work. 20 minutes max goes by before one of the guys goes to hit on her. Blah blah blah. Because my birthday is in a few days. Him. I know. Think to myself, no you don't you jackass. You are meeting her for the first time right now. Him. I have the memory of an elephant. And that's not the only thing. Wink. She moves in close. Starts touching his shirt and I'm just trying to remember where I might have ingested crazy pills. I know for a fact they had not met or talked to each other before the start of the shift. The Naked Man. Better version. Story time. I was leaving my home country in a few days and wasn't going to return on a long time. I was with a girl I was madly in love with for the longest time, but she had had a boyfriend forever. We always had a lot of chemistry, but the I have a boyfriend line always got in the way and we have been getting further apart since she got together with him. She was in my house saying goodbye, and it was very tense. I had a very evident erection and I caught her taking a look and blushing. I said, look what you do to me. She blushed even more. After a few minutes I had to go to the washroom to pee. She said like, yeah sure, pee. Trying to imply that I was going to masturbate to take care of the erection. When I was there peeing my mind started to wander. We barely talked anymore since she got together with that guy. We had one common friend. And he wasn't that close. I wasn't going to see her again on a long time. So I got naked and went to meet her in the living room. And said her exactly that. I wasn't going to see her again. Her boyfriend checked her communications constantly and hated me, so we couldn't talk later. Whatever happened that day didn't matter. While I said that, she just kept looking at my D. I then kissed her and the rest is history. TLDR. Got naked. Banged girl that friend-zoned me. Haven't seen her again. Body language. Chest up. Shoulders back. And drink in your hand next to you instead of in front of your plexus. I met a girl at a bar one night. We chatted up for a bit and at the end of the conversation she left me her number and invited me to Afties. I arrived at Afties to find at least 3 other guys that were looking to hook up with her. We continued our conversation from earlier, whereas the other suitors not so discreetly made their intentions clear and failed. People started funneling out as things started to die down, and we made our way to her bedroom. Out of nowhere, I tell her my back and shoulders feel really tense. Can you give me a massage? To which she hops on my back. After 5 seconds I turn over and start making out with her and things escalate further. In all honesty, asking for a massage was not the catalyst for hooking up as much as we may have made an actual connection that night and other guys were going for a single act of seduction. From reading these, it seems pickup lines work far better for women.